Hey, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Tor browser, what it is and how it works, and whether or not you should use it with a VPN. So the first step here is to go to torproject.org and download the Tor browser and install it. And then once you have that, you'll open it up to the browser here, but you're not connected to the network yet. We have to click on this connect button, and then we'll establish a connection to the Tor network, and here we can browse on the dark web. Now, a lot of people are sometimes hesitant to use the dark web, and that's because it's possible to run into things on the dark web which are not very safe and not very legal. Now, once you're connected up on the Tor browser, you can use it as pretty much a regular browser and go to all your regular websites, although it is a bit slower than a regular browser, and I'm going to explain why in a minute. Although you can also use Tor to find websites that you can't get to on a regular browser, and this is why Tor tends to have kind of a shady reputation, because it is possible to find things on the Tor browser that are not necessarily safe or legal. There are ways of accessing those kinds of stuff with the Tor browser. However, if you do a quick search, you can find lists of dark web links and Onion and Tor sites which you can use that are perfectly safe and perfectly good to use. And again, you can also use the Tor browser as a regular browser. Now, why would you use the Tor browser over a regular browser, and also why is it slower? So the reason for that is because the way the Tor browser works is by something called the Onion network. And just like an onion has layers, there's going to be layers to using the Tor browser, because this is you over here, you're the user. When you go to a website, what's going to happen is all your data, your IP address, your location is going to go into one entry node, one entry server, and that one can see the data that you've sent it. But it's also going to get encrypted and then passed over to this middle node. Now, this middle node or middle server, it's received encrypted data, so it doesn't know your personal information that it was receiving, and it also doesn't know where you're going because it's getting encrypted when it goes to this exit node. Now, the exit node is the one that's leaving the Onion network and going to your destination website that you're trying to get to. So that one can see the destination you're trying to get to, but again, that personal information was encrypted before reaching it. So with this method and these different layers, it's a way of being able to connect to pretty much any website without the destination website knowing your personal information. The entry node here does receive your personal information, and the exit node does receive information from the destination website that you're trying to get to. So this method gives you a really secure and protected way of connecting the internet, keeping you highly anonymous and all of your data very safe. The thing is, because this takes some time, the Tor browser does tend to be slower than a regular browser. So that's pretty much how the Tor browser works. I can use it as a regular browser, so I could go and search for the BBC and just go to the BBC as a regular website, just go and find out what's going on and use it. And like I said, this will be a very secure connection. But let's say I was in a country where access to the BBC was blocked, like Iran or China, one of those countries. I can also use the Tor browser, but connect using a different website. So that's all there really is to it when it comes to using the Tor browser. You can either use it as a regular browser and go to all the normal websites that you would go to, but it will be a very secure and private connection. Or you can also use it to access websites that are not available in a regular browser, and you'll always know which ones those are, because instead of ending with .com like gmail.com, they're going to end with .onion. So you always know when an address is a Tor browser address. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about was a VPN and using a VPN together with Tor. Now, I'll have more information about all the VPNs that I'm going to be using in the description below. Now, using a VPN with Tor is something that has been debated quite a bit, whether or not it's something you should do or not. And after doing quite a bit of research, what I realized is that whether or not you should do this depends on the VPN that you're using and what your reasons are for doing it in the first place. Because the first thing to do is make sure that you're using a reliable VPN with a trusted no logs policy, like ExpressVPN, NordVPN, or Surfshark. These are my top 3 recommendations. All of them have a no logs policy, meaning that they don't keep any user records local on their own servers, and that has all been independently verified by outside third-party companies. And that means that if any government or agency would ever try to get information from these VPNs, they just wouldn't have it. They're not keeping it on their servers at all. And in general, these 3 VPNs are some of the best and the ones that I recommend when it comes to performance and your connection speed and just a reliable, stable connection. And in general, after having tested quite a few VPNs out there, these are my top 3 picks and the ones that I recommend the most, because they tend to have the fastest connections and the most reliable and stable connections. So if you're going to be using a VPN with Tor, I would definitely recommend doing it with one of these 3. Now, in order to explain why you would use a VPN with Tor, let's go back to this diagram, because there are really 2 ways of using a VPN with Tor. You can either connect to the VPN first before you connect to Tor, and then you connect to Tor and start using the browser. Now with the VPN here, it means that nobody can even see the fact that you're connecting to the Tor network, which means that if you live somewhere where the Tor network is banned, if you're using a school network, like a country with censorship on their internet like Iran or China, or even if you're just in school or some kind of network like that where Tor is blocked, using a VPN first will hide the fact that you are connecting to Tor. On top of that, your internet service provider can also see that you're connecting to Tor, and sometimes they don't like that and it may cause a red flag in their system. So using a VPN first will hide the fact that you're using Tor from your ISP. So these are some reasons why people tend to use a VPN before Tor. And this is pretty easy to do. All you would have to do is go into ExpressVPN, go here, choose a location from any here in the list, and then click the connect button and you're connected to the VPN, and then go to the Tor browser and connect up to the network, and that's it, you're good to go. However, there is another way of doing things here. You see, we don't need to put the VPN here. We could also technically put the VPN here at the exit, and this will hide from the Tor network itself what you're doing and which websites you're going to at the end of the day here. The reason that this isn't generally recommended or done is because it tends to be quite difficult to set up your Tor network and your VPN like this with the VPN after the exit node, and there also just aren't as many benefits as there are when it comes to the VPN being before the Tor network. So that's why you don't generally find this setup being used. The VPN first in the beginning over here is definitely more common. Of course though, which one you do at the end of the day is going to be up to you and your needs. Now one last thing I wanted to show you guys was in NordVPN over here that I mentioned before. If we go here to more connection options and we go to specialty servers, they have this option here, Onion over VPN. And if you click on this, it will actually connect you to the VPN and then to the Onion network, like I said here in this method, where the VPN is before the Onion network, and it will do that without even needing the Tor browser. So now you can go onto any browser, you can go into Chrome and you can use it, and it will be exactly like the Tor browser. And just to demonstrate this, I'm gonna go and open up a new incognito window, and I'm gonna go to a website here that ends in .onion. You see it looks like a very strange website, and this is a website that you can only really access on the Tor network normally because it ends in .onion. But if I click on it, I will be able to use Chrome and go to this website because I'm using Nord's Onion over VPN feature. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you're more informed about the Tor browser, the Onion network, and VPNs. And if you want full reviews for any of these VPNs, Express, Nord, or Surfshark over here, you'll find all of that in the description below, and you'll also find some discount links that will save you some extra money if you want to try any of them out. Thank you guys, have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.